Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful Saturday so far. I got a good one for you today. I was going through question period, and it seemed kind of like a compilation by the conservatives of every ethics scandal and everything that the Trudeau liberals have done to us over the years. So I thought I'd do a video on it, and we can enjoy this together. First off, if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And with no further ado, let's get into it.
The Honourable Member for Northumberland, Peterborough South.
Federal Foundation fund.
Also, sorry about the audio. I don't know why, but CPAC has it on low today.
By over $1 billion of taxpayers' money. They violated their own conflict of interest policy 186 times, awarded $76 million of contracts inappropriately, awarded $59 million that went to 10 separate projects that were clearly ineligible. And in 63 separate instances, directors of the program voted in favor of payments to companies of which they had an interest. Parliament has made a reasonable request for the government to help the ongoing RCMP investigation by handing over documents to Parliament. However, this government has refused. The obstruction has grinded Parliament to a halt. Madam Speaker, it's time to axe the tax, cut the corruption, and call an election.
Yes. The Honourable Member for Winnipeg North.
Madam Speaker, have you heard the phrase, the conservative hidden agenda? That is something in which Canadians really do need to be aware of. Nothing could be further from the truth when it comes to this leader of the Conservative Party, Madam Speaker. He's good at slogans, he's great at bumper stickers, but I'll tell you, let me give you a tangible example of a hidden conservative agenda. Think in terms of yesterday, the debate on the National Disability Program. I asked on 3 separate occasions, would the Conservatives commit to no cuts on that particular program? Even the critic, Madam Speaker, not one of them would commit to saying that they would not cut the National Disability Program. These are the types of things in which the Conservative Party is hiding from Canadians, Madam Speaker, because they know that the Conservative hidden agenda is something that the Canadians will not support.
No, that's not the case. The conservatives just don't want to give anything away right now. And especially when they see the liberals burning themselves alive when they're doing something at least sketchy, possibly illegal, and when the RCMP requests documents, they hand them documents that are pretty much all redacted. And so when you're watching your enemy pretty much bury themselves alive, you don't have to do anything. You just let it be done.
Questions orales. Oral questions. The Honourable Member for Leeds Granville,
This NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, and time's up for this Prime Minister and his de facto Finance Minister, Carbon Tax Carney. Since taking on the role, the friends and business interests of Carbon Tax Carney have benefited with billions of tax dollars. $2 billion for his buddy at Telesat in Brookfield getting a seat at the table to get their hands on $10 billion Canadian tax dollars. Suddenly, Carbon Tax Carney is raising funds for these Liberals in exchange for all of those billions. So will they cooperate with an investigation from Canada's lobbying commissioner?
The Honourable Minister of Flavors.
Well, Madam Speaker, the Death Valley well driller is poking more dry holes. Outstanding Canadians stepping up to advise the Liberal Party or any party is a very good thing. But what this member wants to cloud is the fact that, Madam Speaker, inflation's down, interest rates are down, wage settlements are up. The economy is up. We've reached a soft landing in this country. They should stop talking the country down. We're going to continue lifting the country up, Madam Speaker.
And this is where the Liberals lose the plot. And this is why I assume all of these Liberals, they they live in their own world. They live in their own bubble. Possibly their ridings are all kind of the rich people or the well-to-dos, because the Conservatives, they go around Canada and they see the destitute that Canadians are in. They see more and more Canadians going to food banks. They see more and more Canadians not able to purchase things. And they show that the Liberals, I hesitate in saying embezzling money, but they're hiding our money, they're misusing it, and they're doing things that are borderlining illegal. And then they hire carbon tax Carney, who doesn't have to follow the rules of all the MPs and doesn't have to give out what companies they're with, doesn't have to make that public. He doesn't have to make public his investments because he's a private person. He's not a public party, let's just say. So we don't know what he's doing and what he's telling pretty much the finance minister to do. And that's the issue here. And I think the Liberals see it, but they're trying to twist it. Because they're not just letting a normal banker or a normal Canadian in. They're letting somebody who's tied to the Liberal Party in. And that's the issue there.
Like all Canadians, I wish that every time we looked for a scandal, it wasn't just surface deep, like the public safety minister found guilty of breaking the law, the prime minister broke the law, the trade minister broke the law. These guys can't help themselves. And now he wants to tell us that Canadians have never had it so good, and that's why they have carbon tax Carney, who's lining the pockets of his friends and himself, all so that he'll raise a little cash for a dying Liberal Party. Canadians have had absolutely enough after 9 years of their corruption and grift. So why won't the prime minister subject his new de facto finance minister to the conflict of interest regime? Is he worried that he's going to be found guilty of breaking the law too?
Honourable Minister of Labour.
Madam Speaker, the predictions of impending doom coming from that member in particular and his political party really sound discordant to Canadians. What is happening across this country, Madam Speaker, is that after the pandemic, we've achieved that rare feat: a soft landing, no recession, wage gains, inflation coming down, interest rates coming down in this country. The finance minister this very week putting in place measures that will make young people more able to purchase a home. Madam Speaker, these are things that you do when you...
Honourable Member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Let's talk about what they've achieved. Record lineups at food banks, with 25% of Canadians not knowing where their next meal is coming from, not able to heat their homes, a third of food bank users being children. They are starving and freezing in the dark after 9 years of this NDP Liberal government and their carbon tax on everything that's being boosted by carbon tax Carney, who's only doing it, of course, to raise his stock portfolio, which we saw with Brookfield stocks hitting 6 months high in exchange for policies from this government and for him fundraising for them. Canadians are broke. These Liberals broke them. Let's have a carbon tax election.
And he didn't even mention, how are Canadians going to heat their homes this winter when, like you said, 25% of Canadians are going to food banks? So are they going to have to choose whether to heat their homes or whether to eat? I assume what's probably going to happen are these Canadians are going to have to focus on heating one of the rooms in their homes. And that's going to be like the warm room. And then they're going to only be able to cook a little bit in the oven or eat already prepared food until summer comes. And then once April comes, the carbon tax is going to increase again. So what I'm hoping right here is, because the Bloc Québécois are put in the timeline of when they want all of their bills passed, or at least accepted by the Crown, was either last Friday or next Friday. I can't remember. And the Liberals went against them. Hopefully all the Bloc Québécois will vote a vote of no confidence, and at least we get a couple of NDPs that kind of clue in, and they notice because of this SDDC scandal, they don't want to have anything to do with the Liberals. So they vote a vote of no confidence, even if Jagmeet votes confidence in the government. And then we can go to a Christmas election and get them out. So we can get this carbon tax out and people can afford to heat their homes. That's what I'm hoping, because that's what I'm worried about this winter, is people freezing, pretty much. But let's continue.
Well, Madam Speaker, Canadians know where this government stands. We've offered immediate and direct support to families, especially when they needed it most. We've delivered household savings and significantly strengthened our social safety net. And we've promoted fairer practices, greater competition across our industries. Notice, Madam Speaker, real solutions and zero slogans from this side. Well, I guess that's just the Liberal government for you.
Greater competition? What is he talking about? Rogers has bought up a bunch of telecommunication companies and consolidated them. We saw that just with Bell as well, and they bought up a ton of small telecommunications companies and then did mass firing after they couldn't get any investment from the government, which at least the government said no, because a company the size of Bell shouldn't get any money from the government, and they should not be able to acquire small companies and then threaten to lay off people if they don't get any money. And but now we know why they don't have any money, because they've been embezzling it all into companies that they own, through the green slush fund that they have, and through the SDDC scandal. We have no money. We have no money to invest in Canadians. We have no money to do anything we want to do. We're paying more on the interest on our debt than we do on our health care. Do you not think there's an issue there when that happens? But the Liberals just spend. That's all they know how to do.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. 9 years ago, this government promised us the world. Instead, we inherited a Canada that is failing seniors, families, and young people. This government has squandered the money Canadians entrusted to it. This government has created massive inflation. Rent has doubled, and homelessness now affects everyone, including young students and grandmas who can no longer make ends meet. Can this Prime Minister, the government, do the only honourable thing left and call an election? Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, what Canadians truly fear is the hidden agenda of the Conservative Party. What would that member cut? She would cut food banks. She would cut support for housing. That party would cut tens of thousands of public service positions in Canada. I think it's time for this member and this party to make public their secret hidden plan, which would be bad for Canada. The Honourable Member for...
Well, yeah, they need to cut a bunch of the public service jobs because of the sheer amount of public servants that the government has implemented over their years in government. We have the largest amount of public servants in a decade because of this government. Now, I have a chart for you showing just how many public servants we've acquired from 2010 to 2019. So it doesn't even go until 2024. So this is from StatsCan, And this is the amount of public service employees that have came in over Justin Trudeau in 2015. At 2015, it was the lowest, and that was the end of the Harper era. And from the beginning of 2010, it was like pretty high, to be completely honest. But it was starting to go down. It peaked in 2010. So yeah, it was going down. It was almost under 260,000. And at 2019, it ballooned way up to 287. Well, let's just say 288,000 public servants. And that's 2019 before the pandemic. So what do you think it's at now? So of course they're going to have to cut jobs. Plus the amount of money the Liberals wasted. We don't have enough money for the public servants. But they're just using that as a scare tactic.
Well, the fact is that Canada has fallen behind our trade partner and neighbor, the United States, in terms of economic growth and productivity, Madam Speaker. But that's not all. The OECD predicts that Canada's economic growth will be the worst of all OECD member countries over the next 3 decades. Canadians want to get control back over their own lives. The only way to do that is for an election to be called to get a Conservative government. Does the Prime Minister have the courage to dissolve the House? The Honourable Minister. Madam Speaker, when there is an election, that member will have to stop making false claims. She will have to publish the Conservative Party's secret hidden plan for cuts, for austerity, for removing support for our seniors, for housing, for municipalities, for infrastructure, and I could go on and on about what they would cut. Madam Speaker, our economy is strong, interest rates are down, the inflation is down, and Madam Speaker, we avoided a recession. We have a lot to accomplish, but we're working on it. The Honourable Member for
I don't know how they keep saying we've avoided a recession. The only reason why they're saying that is because they include the CPP in our financial numbers, and they can't even access the CPP. So we're actually in a recession right now. It's just our government can manipulate these numbers. I don't even know how the government can manipulate or how they can use that to manipulate the numbers. I don't even know how that's legal, but apparently it is.
Saint-Jean. The House is calling for a 10% increase in old age security for all seniors aged 65 to 74. But this is not just the will of the House of Commons. In fact, yesterday, CTV published a poll. Madam Speaker, do you know what percentage of Canadians agree with us? No fewer than 79%. 79% of those polls understand that depriving 65 to 74-year-olds of a pension increase to which older seniors are entitled means creating two classes of seniors. Will the Liberals finally say yes to the request not only of the House of Commons, but also of 79% of Canadians? The Honourable Minister for Seniors. Madam Speaker, I recently visited my colleague's beautiful riding. When I was there, I checked. There are 8,700 constituents in the members' riding who are eligible for the Canadian Dental Care Program now, and that is thanks to the federal Canadian Dental Care Program that she voted against, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member for
So the reason why they won't increase the amount of money of pension from people from 65 to 74 is because it would cost $16.1 billion to do that for all of these pensioners. And do you know where that would come from? That would come either from printing money, and then that would affect generations to come, or that would affect every Gen Xer and below, every worker. And then good luck. Hopefully you own a house or own something, because then you will not be able to own anything, because that would come right out of your taxes. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't work. And of course, 75% of Canadians would want that, because who doesn't want more money? And I mean, that of course, that sounds great until that actually is implemented, and then you see your taxes go up, and then you see your, and then you see the amount of money you get from your job every month go down because of taxes. And then they tell you, oh, you're going to get that back at 65 when inflation has eaten away at your actual pension.
Saint Jean. 79% of Canadians agree with the Bloc Québécois that old age security should be improved for seniors aged 65 to 74. Everyone understands that it is unfair to create two classes of seniors. So the Liberals will also have to face up to this obvious fact. Otherwise, they will have to pay the political price. Do the Liberals understand that if they say no to 79% of Canadians, 79% of Canadians might want to say no to them?
Secrétaire parlementaire.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is also important to inform that 79% of Canadians that our government, since 2015, has implemented a host of good
has ballooned Canada's debt, so we can't afford this stuff. Oh, wait, no, he's not going to say that.
Programs and measures for seniors. We brought the retirement age down from 67 to 65. We increased supports for most vulnerable seniors, including women, persons with disabilities, those with needs. We also enhanced the guaranteed income supplement. And you know who voted against all of that, Madam Speaker? The Bloc Québécois.
Lebanese Canadians have told me they're terrified for their loved ones. They are horrified by the
And I think I'm going to end it there. This video is getting a little bit long, and we're kind of past a lot of the liberals versus conservative stuff and getting out of the ethics zone here. So what do you think is going on here? Do you think the liberals are doing a good job for Canadians, or do you think, well, the liberals are done for? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, if you could quickly leave a like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Also, in the comments below, let me know if you want to see the second part of this question period, because I'd love to skip ahead and do another video on it. Other than that, have a nice day.